You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
Lonely dead, stuck, bleeding pig. Lonely ditch, I choose to dead.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison, here with my co-host David Story. We just wrapped up a fantastic show. We talked to Daryl Richardson and Jennifer Bates, both workers at Amazon. We talked to Big Mike, one of the RWDSU worker organizers, actually the vice president of the local union at Wayne Farms in Decatur. We talked to Randy Hadley, the president of the Mid-South Council here. We talked to Joshua Brewer, the lead organizer on this campaign. If you missed any of the show, you can go back and watch it later. We are on YouTube at the Valley Labor Report. I highly suggest going back and watching it. Really, really good stuff. If you missed it or if you're coming in late and only caught part of it, definitely do that. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
As would be the case. You know, it was funny. It was not the intent. It wasn't our intent when we started this to come down the path of religion and come down the path of to blend those two together. But it just goes to show you where the labor movement is, and that, you know, years ago it started in the churches and it started in places like that. And and importantly, it was important to point out that it's coming back to that.
Yeah. That's exactly right. You know, the labor movement is where the workers are, and a lot of workers are religious. I mean, I taught Josh. I had no idea that he was a preacher in a past life, so to speak, and that he said. I mean, seriously, I was like, wow, this is the exact same thing that Brother Kelly, the president of my national union, said. And he came up from Alabama, and he's a preacher, and he's saying the exact same thing, that this lifting up the poor and oppressed, this is an extension of my ministry and God's word, and that's really
powerful. That's powerful, and it's important to let all the viewers and listeners out there know what Brother Hadley said when we went out into the last commercial break. Not if we win this campaign, we're moving on, but when we win this campaign, the rest of Amazon better watch out. Yeah. Because it's spreading like wildfire.
Well, and that's exactly another thing that Brother Randy said. He's not, the Amazon ain't scared of him and the union, so to speak. They're scared of workers coming together and demanding their worth, coming together and demanding dignity and respect, and saying, I deserve more than poverty wages. I deserve more than 2 breaks per 12-hour shift. I deserve to be able to look my supervisor in the eye and as equals and have a conversation about what we're going to do, a conversation, to be able to negotiate the terms of my employment as a human being. I mean, this is just that's what Amazon is scared of. It ain't Randy or the quote unquote the union. It's workers. Workers are the union, and them realizing that they can have more and they deserve more and they can get more. That's what Amazon and every other corporation that tries to tell you that you're only worth so much, that's what they're scared of.
Well, it goes back to the same thing that we always say. Change is not going to come from the top down. The only time you're going to see change come is when everybody starts banding together. And you can talk about politics all you want, and whether the right's going to help us or whether the left's going to help us or whether this person's going to help us. But the fact is, when we all start banding together, and when I say we all, I say the working class of the United States. And you may be surprised if you're listening that you fall into the working class if you work for a living and earn a wage. But when we all start standing together, you don't need politicians anymore. You don't need somebody looking out for you, because we demand what we want at the grassroots level, and most of the time we'll get it.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. talking about when we get organized, we're not going to need to ask for this person or that person or this group or that group to help us. We'll be helping ourselves. We'll be helping ourselves to the value of our labor.
Yeah.
We'll be helping ourselves to the value that we created. We'll be taking more of the profit that we created back from the boss and from the corporations. And I mean, that going back to something that Big Mike said, when it helps these workers, these 5,800 workers, 5,800 workers here in Bessemer, if they all get $1 an hour raise or $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 an hour raise, that is nearly 6,000 people. That is going to be an enormous ripple effect across the community for everybody, for their family, for their churches, for their businesses. And the alternative is that Jeff Bezos gets that.
Yeah, or it goes. Yeah, I mean the alternative is it goes into somebody's bank account,
right,
and they can gamble it in the stock market that we've seen the last. The alternative is somebody else gets richer and we all continue to get poorer.
Yeah, and that's the only alternative. Either workers get what they deserve or more of what
they make.
Or somebody else in some far off land gets to hide it in the Cayman Islands or something. And I think everybody knows what is better for our communities. It's obvious. When workers in their communities have more power, have more buying power, feel better about themselves, they'll be able to do a better job, and their communities are going to be better. And like Brother Randy said, this is when we win here. This is just the beginning of the fight. We're gonna keep fighting, and we're gonna keep fighting for workers across this state and across this country and across the world. And we've got a world to win.